Yo, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something I haven't done in ages, but I love doing these. It is a edit with me. I'm going to go through how I edited 5 POV street photography photos. These were from the Brixton POV street photography video I uploaded a few weeks back. And we're going to try and do new edits. Not necessarily new edits, but I'm editing them from scratch. And we're going to see how they come out. But I'm going to basically take you through my 4 processes of editing these street photography photos. So let's do it. So jumping into Lightroom, this is the first image. This is one of my favorite ones. It's actually one of the first ones I took on the day of this interesting character walking down the street. That was my goal for this video when I was filming it, was I wanted to capture the characters of Brixton. So this was a interesting guy. I was going to ask him for his portrait and I decided not to because he was shouting at his dog and he was drinking beer at like 11 AM, so I didn't do that. But anyway, first thing we're going to do is we're going to slap in an S-curve immediately off the bat. A very basic one, and we're going to pull up the blacks here. Now, if you pull up these blacks here, that's a really extreme example, but it fades them. I don't really know, I don't think it makes them any darker going that way, but if you pull them up slightly, it fades them, which I just like that look generally. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to immediately pull out a little bit of the contrast. My Mac is struggling a little bit with the fact I'm recording audio and screen recording, but we'll see. Honestly, these adjustments I'm making right now are just my real generic adjustments. And as you can see, I sort of just play around and see how each slider affects the image and sort of decide from there what I want to do. I'm going to pull the highlights out. Specifically, I'm going to pull them out of the sky. So we're going to go in, linear gradient, slap that straight down from the top. There we go. Covering where we want it to cover. O to get rid of the overlay. All those highlights all the way out. Maybe even drop the exposure down by 1. Boom. Okay, let's get a bit further down here. I'm not going to mess around with the other tone curves right now. Might come back and do them. Desaturate the yellows and the oranges a little bit. I just feel like they're very distracting right now. And blue of mainly of his bag and that car. First thing I normally do, which I didn't actually do on this one, would be adjust the crop, but I'm actually quite happy with how that is framed anyway. This car slightly bugs me, but at the same time it gives a little bit more depth to the image, so I'm not overly mad about it. Color grading, again, as with everything, I just have to play around and sort of see what I'm thinking, how it's affecting my image. Going from there, obviously you can probably tell there's no real plan to this edit, and I'm not gonna lie, with most of my edits there probably isn't any real plan to it. I'm just sort of figuring it out as I go. Minor adjustments, but I like it. Sharpening, all that lot can stay the same. I always remove that, and I always remove chromatic aberration, even though I can never even see it, if I'm honest. I always just click the tick box anyway. Enable profile corrections. I will see if it does anything. Generally speaking, it just does that. It removes any vignette from the lens. Sometimes with the wider lenses, so when I take photos on the 17 to 28mm, it does correct the distortion of the wide angle. But honestly, I'm going to leave that vignette on. Okay, you can kind of see it's adjusting the image very slightly. I'm going to leave that like vignette of the lens on there because I'm not mad about it, and I would have probably just put it back in anyway. Slap some grain on. This is something I never used to do, was slap on any grain. And it barely makes any difference, but I kind of like the look recently. Okay, so these color tone curves, I've actually just recently, when I say recently, this morning I recorded a TikTok on these. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, you should go check that out. Because if it's not already up, there's a TikTok coming on how to adjust your color curves. not really how to adjust it, but it's more just explaining color curve, so I won't explain it in this. If you'd like an actual YouTube video about it, like going in depth, drop a comment down below, because I can make that. It was just a really quick TikTok about it. Do I want to introduce any color in the shadows, midtones, or highlights? Oh, I like that. See, that's what I like. Tone curves off, tone curves on. Let's see how I looked before I affected them at all. I like the slightly reddish tint to that. I like it. Boom. Before and after. Happy with that. Yeah, I'm not one to do massively crazy edits. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes my edits do come out looking quite drastically different, but especially for street photography ones, not really. Happy with that. So, next image. This is a cool image. I'm pretty sure, again, I slapped preset on this guy, but we're not going to do that. However, I already do have a sort of an idea of what I would like for this image. So we're going to go for this typical S-curve. We're going to pull the blacks out a little bit. This is just how we roll. And actually, something I wish I'd done on that other one. I'm going to pull the whites down. So if you adjust the whites in this corner, this also has the same sort of effect that the blacks does. It means it's not pure white. There will be no pure white in this image anymore. It's just going to be like sort of a faded white. As you can see there, look, there's no, that far end is pure white, and that right now there isn't a pure white because I've removed it. You can see how the histogram changes as I pull this down. So I want to make this a little bit warmer. I'm going to take a bit of contrast back out and pull the shadows out a little bit. Highlights down. Clarity up of tad. Bit more of a vignette, but I want to feather that vignette more. Bit of blue in the highlights. If you have a look at the typical teal and orange look. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I was gonna say. Tad bit of green in the midtones, not quite that much though. Then when I come back up, I want his orange jacket to be a little bit brighter, but also slightly desaturated. Maybe a little bit more towards the red. Those yellows in the background, we want desaturated, but not too much. That looks a bit dead. Darken them, no, brighten them. Brighten them a tad. It is trial and error with editing. It's just testing, seeing what you like from the image, seeing what you don't like. And to be honest with you, I'm happy with how that's come out right there. Boom. Before and after. Again, not a dramatic edit. Not much has changed, but that's just the vibe I went for this photo. This photo just made me laugh, if I'm honest. Maybe I'm mean. Maybe it's Maybelline. But you know the drill. S-curve. Fade the blacks. Fade the blacks? Not going to fade the blacks this time. I'm going to drag that slightly across there though to bring it up. That's also not the most dramatic S-curve in the world. Although those highlights are damn bright. Let's pull these highlights immediately just out all the way. But quite like the contrast of this scene at the moment. We're going to keep the contrast in. We're going to adjust the crop. Auto, thank you. More towards that left side. That's a bit better. Desaturate a tad, but pop the vibrance, pop the clarity. Again! Not much to be done. Desaturate the reds a bit though, because they are quite overpowering in my opinion. Probably not going to colour grade this one at all. I want to bring the vignette in, feather it out a bit more. Bit of grain. Before and after. Happy with that. That was a quick one. That was a really quick one. Happy with that one. Okay, and so this one I'm excited about. Let's dive straight in. So first things first, we're not straight. We're gonna auto that. I want him slap bang in the middle of this image, like so. We're gonna chuck in, guess what? Can you guess what? Is an S-curve. We're gonna bring blacks slightly up, whites slightly down. Bit more of a dramatic S-curve, please. Immediately put a bit of that contrast out though, because I don't like how contrasted that is. Bring the shadows up. Highlights down. Okay, we're back after that technical difficulties. Although I've just realised that I definitely could have just carried on talking to the microphone because you don't need to see my face while I edit, but hey ho. So yeah, we were bringing the highlights down, weren't we? Oh no, we're fiddling around with the tone curve. Yes, I've brought the mid-tones up to show you what it's done exactly there. Mainly on him and around him, it just brightened the image up a little bit. I am now going to bring highlights down a tad more, and in fact we're going to drop the whole exposure down a little bit. We're going to bring the clarity up and the texture up because I think that will really make all the fruit and veg around him pop. I love the fact I've just nailed focus straight on him here. I think it's really fucking cool. We are, zoom out. We want whites up or down? I think whites can just stay in the middle really. Blacks can probably stay in the middle as well. Color curves we're not going to play around with. I am going to bring the overall saturation down, but then the vibrance up. Honestly, why do I do this? No idea. Can't remember. I think I watched a tutorial years ago which said to bring the saturation down and vibrance up, and since then I've just religiously done it within my photography. So here we are. Color grading, I don't really think I want to pop any colors. We're gonna maybe put a bit of orange into the mid-tones. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Little bit of detail in there. I would like to really focus in on him. As you've probably realised I do, I like to feather my vignette. I don't like a harsh vignette. Or too harsh of a vignette at least. And that, focus on him a little more. Bit of grain. Now let's have a quick look. Calibration I haven't touched throughout the rest of this video. And I'm thinking I like a bit more of a greeny tint into these shadows. Yeah, I like that. We're not going to mess around with the rest of them. And I would actually like to bring the saturation up a bit more again. Like that. Before and after. I love that. I'm happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that. Nice. Okay. Final image. This one is a really cool one. If you've seen the POV video, if you haven't already, you should go check it out. But if you have seen it, you know I waited here for quite a while, waiting for a shot to happen. I knew I wanted something with these telephone boxes. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the shot I wanted was. And then this guy went and walked in. I wasn't even expecting anyone to get in them because I don't think they work. Apparently they do because he started phoning someone. But yeah, I love this shot. First things first, as you just saw, I am adjusting the crop for this. Guess what? It's an S-curve. Now, this is immediately contrasting this image. I'm actually going to pull some contrast straight back out of it, which might be counterintuitive, but it's my edit. I can do what I want. Highlights down, shadows up a bit. I want to be able to see a little bit more detail on him. Whites can just stay there. That can all stay there. I'm going to put the the clarity up a little bit more than I have it on the other ones because I want to emphasize the real gritty look within these phone boxes. Saturation we are going to pull down to like 13. Bit of vibrance up to pop it a little bit, but not too much. That's I'm going to get rid of the pure whites in this image completely. I like this very desaturated look. Now what I don't like is in the top left corner over here, we've got a lot of green going on. So we're going to desaturate the greens and the yellows. Greens we're going to darken up a little bit. Yellows we're going to brighten, mainly for that telephone box there. Reds we're going to actually... No, I'm actually going to desaturate the reds. I was going to say I'm going to pop the reds a little bit, but I actually prefer the look of them being a little bit more desaturated. And up with luminance a little bit. No, I don't like what I just did with the oranges there. Now, on this one, we're going to do a funky little thing in a second. I'll pop a little bit of green into the shadows through the calibration tool. The reds, I'm going to desaturate a little bit more. The greens we're going to desaturate a bit more, and the blues as well. We're going to desaturate a lot through the calibration tool. When I come up here, I'm going to put a little bit of saturation back in here because that desaturated it too much. And we are going to use the radial gradient. We are going to focus in on our guy here. O to get rid of that overlay, now that we can see what we're affecting. And I'm going to up the sharpness, up the exposure by 2. Then I'm going to duplicate mask 1, and then I'm going to show me the overlay. Invert it. There we go. Now I can see the overlay. Invert. And we're going to affect everything that I didn't just affect, but in the opposite way. So we're going to get rid of the overlay. We're going to put the exposure down slightly by 2. We're literally going to do the opposite. 2. I'm going to de-sharpen slightly. I'm actually going to remove a little bit of clarity from around the edges as well. And that goes from this to that. It's a bit of a bodge job way of vignetting without using the actual vignette tool. But why do I don't even know why I do this. I think it gives it, in my head, I feel like it gives it more of like a depth. I feel like it really focuses in on that subject in a feathered way because you're using the gradient of the radial filter. So it feathers it in nicer onto the specific area you want, and then I'm just, by inverting it and then doing the second one and going the opposite direction, I'd probably get the same result if I just did double the amount on the first mask, but I want to do it like that, so I'm going to do it like that. It's my edit, leave me alone. Before and after, very happy with that. Very happy with that. But yeah, that is it. That is how I edit POV street photography videos. That is my thought processes behind it. Hopefully I taught you a little bit about editing there if you didn't already know some of the tools or how to use them, or maybe just gave you some other like ideas on how to use some of the tools and how to use some of the stuff within Lightroom, because that's how I learned a lot of my stuff, was by watching other people edit and just seeing their thought process and how they're using tools. It's like, oh, that can be used in that way. The tone curve can be used to do that. The radial filter can be used to do that. Just these little things just help learn, and yeah, hopefully I can help you guys learn. So if you like the video, drop a thumbs up down below. Massively help me out. Subscribe if you aren't already. All the other stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. Follow me. I'm going to shout my socials out for once because I never do this. Just follow me on Instagram at LukePalms. Follow me on TikTok at LukePalms_, because someone stole at LukePalms. They won't reply to my DMs asking if I can have it. All the other stuff that YouTubers tell you to do, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to take the shot. Peace.